All right, so welcome everyone to the video. If you're a Form 4 this school year, then I hope this will come in handy. Today we're going to be covering Chapter 1 that you're going to be learning in September, Basic Economic Concepts. And this chapter is actually divided into 8 subtopics, so we're going to go through the first 3 subtopics in this video. So let's move on to the first. We're going to talk about the nature of economics, what economics is. So economics is a social science that studies, analyzes, and predicts human behavior. So how we behave when faced with different decisions that we have to make. So how do we maximize our profits under such a constraint scenario? So this is called constraint maximization. How do we make choices under a situation where everyone faces scarcity? So scarcity is actually the root of all economic problems. It's the situation where the current resources that are available are unable to satisfy all of our human wants. So as you can see, the general condition is us humans, we have unlimited wants, and there are limited resources in this world which are unable to satisfy all of our wants. So this is the general condition. Now, there are some common misconceptions. Many people believe that economics studies how to make money, but this is actually false. As previously mentioned, economics studies analyzes and predicts human behavior, how us humans behave when making decisions. So it does not teach us how to make money. It does not teach us how to become rich. And second of all, people think that scarcity can be solved, when in reality, in our society, scarcity is a problem that will forever linger, and realistically speaking, it'll not be solved. So the second subtopic focuses on wants, scarcity, and choice. So wants, in short, are human desires. And I forgot to include this in the notes, but wants are actually further separated into tangible and intangible wants. So tangible wants involve wants that are related to physical objects. So when you say something is tangible, it can be seen, it can be felt, it can be touched. So for example, if I want a new iPhone, if I want a new gaming laptop, then these are tangible wants. Whereas intangible wants are actually related to things that cannot be seen, cannot be touched. Rather, these are more of ideas. So they do not exist in a physical form. So for example, love, happiness, knowledge. So if I crave knowledge, if I want love and happiness, then these would be intangible wants. Now, scarcity, I want everyone to put a star next to this definition, because this is one of the most important parts in this chapter. The definition of scarcity, as previously mentioned, is the situation in which the resources available are unable to satisfy all of our human wants. And a lot of people have to know of this, and it's that scarcity is actually a relative concept. So we cannot only look at the resources we currently have and say, oh, this resource is scarce. We also have to look at human wants. So we have to compare the two, and then we'll come to a conclusion. So in this scenario, if I have 3 units of a good, but I only have 2 people who want it, then this good would not be scarce, because the resource available is able to satisfy all of our human wants. Okay. But if I change the number, let's say this is no longer 2, let's say this is 4. In this case, would it be able to satisfy all of the current human wants? The answer is no. We have 4 people who want 1 unit of this good, but we only have 3 units. Then in this case, this good would be scarce. Okay. So in conclusion, if a resource is fixed in supply, this doesn't necessarily mean that the resource is scarce. Now, some people may ask, do rich people also face the problem of scarcity? The answer is yes. Both poor and rich people face the problem of scarcity. Everybody faces this problem. Having a ton of money doesn't necessarily entail that you're able to satisfy all of your wants. Realistically speaking, this is impossible. Now, with scarcity comes choices. So we have to think about which wants we want to satisfy and which wants we should give up. Now, it is stated that rational individuals will choose the option that to themselves have the highest value. And of course, this value differs from person to person. So let's say I have a basketball, and this basketball to me may be of a very high value, but to other people, they may view it as a worthless item. So it's a very subjective concept. Now, theoretically, if scarcity does not exist in our society, then no choices have to be made, because that would mean that all wants would be satisfied. However, of course, there is scarcity in our society, and therefore ever will be scarcity in our society. Okay, the last subtopic we're going to be covering today is the relationship between scarcity, competition, and discrimination. Now, scarcity leads to competition. Why? Because with scarcity, this means that this resources we have right now, they are insufficient to satisfy all of our wants. And thus, people would be tempted to compete to obtain the resources that they want. Now, there are two main types of competition, namely price competition, where people compete for resources or goods on the basis of price, and non-price competition, where people compete for these resources on the basis of other factors. Such factors include age, sex, race, and many other qualifications. But regardless of the form of competition, discrimination is always implied. Why? Think about this. If you don't get the item that you desire, you're discriminated, okay? So these two types of competitions favor people who are qualified, people who are able to satisfy these factors, and in return they get the resources or goods that they want. And people who don't get the resources or goods that they want because they're unable to qualify, they would be discriminated. Now, as seen above, what this means is that scarcity implies competition, because people would be tempted to compete for the resources that they want. And competition would imply discrimination, okay? Because some people are bound to get these resources and some people are bound not to get these resources. What if there's no scarcity? If there is no scarcity, let's cross this. No scarcity would imply the absence of competition, and the absence of competition itself would imply the absence of discrimination. So you can also say that the absence of scarcity would imply the absence of discrimination. Okay. Now, but there's also one hidden condition for competition, is that you need at least two individuals. And this also leads me to the next topic that I do want to cover for a while, which is one-man economy, because we're going to be covering some MC questions later, and you'll see that this concept might actually be a little tricky. It might become sort of a trap for some people. So one-man economy, as its name implies, is an economy where there's only one person. And in these situations, there would be no competition and no discrimination. Now, competition requires at least two individuals. If not, would you be fighting with yourself? You wouldn't, right? So you need at least two people to actually, compete for something. You cannot compete with yourself. Okay, that's the idea. Now, note that in a one-man economy, scarcity also exists, okay? Scarcity exists, but just not competition and discrimination, because you do not have another party to compete with. And therefore, one person getting this and one person not getting this would not happen in a one-man economy, because there's only one person. Okay, so let's take a look at some MC questions. I have 3 MC questions here. Feel free to pause the video, and there will be a timestamp on the screen. And if you're done with these questions, you can just proceed to this timestamp, and we're going to go over the MCs. All right, so let's take a look at these 3 MC questions. Question 1, which of the following about scarcity is correct? So A, scarcity exists because the supply of resources is fixed. Now, not necessarily, so this would be incorrect, because now the definition of scarcity, if you're able to recall, is a situation where the resources that are currently available are unable to satisfy all of our human wants. Even if a resource is has a fixed quantity. As long as it's able to satisfy all of the current human wants, then it would not be scarce. And B, whenever there is scarcity, there would be competition. Now, this is the trap that I've just mentioned. This is also incorrect because if we look at a one-man economy, even though there is scarcity, there is no competition. And that's why B would also be incorrect in this circumstance. C, people have to make choices because of scarcity. Now, this is correct. If we look at it in the opposite direction, if scarcity is absent, if there's no more scarcity, would we still have to make choices? The answer is no, because the absence of scarcity would entail that all of our wants would be satisfied. But realistically speaking, that is not possible. So D, scarcity is not the source of economic problems. Now, this is obviously incorrect. We've just mentioned that scarcity is indeed the source of all economic problems. Okay, second question. Which of the following about scarcity is correct? So this is the same question type as the first question. A, once a choice is made, the problem of scarcity is solved. This is incorrect. When you make a choice, it implies that you would have to give up satisfying other wants in order for you to satisfy certain wants. So you still have to give up something, and this itself already tells you that there is scarcity, because without scarcity, you wouldn't even have to make choices. If scarcity is absent, then all of our wants would be satisfied. And again, this is one of the misconceptions. Scarcity in reality will never truly be solved. So B, a good is scarce if not everyone has it. Now, there's one point that everyone needs to know. It's the matter of if you want it or not. Okay, yeah, sure. Not everyone has it, but does it mean that all of these people want the good? Not necessarily. So, oh shoot, forgive me. I don't know why my brother's screaming outside, but yes. Okay, not everyone has a good, but it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody wants it. So it's a matter of, you have to take a look at the resources available, and you also have to take a look at how many human wants there are and if people even want it. Okay? So if not everyone has the good, it doesn't necessarily mean that the good is scarce. So B is also incorrect. Scarcity means unlimited human wants, which is option C. And this would partially be correct, but when we're talking about scarcity, as I've previously mentioned, we have to look at both sides. We have to look at resources and we have to look at human wants. So merely stating unlimited human wants isn't gonna be the correct answer. So scarcity, let's recall again, scarcity means the situation in which the resources available aren't enough to satisfy all human wants. So C would also be incorrect in this case. D, both rich people and poor people face the problem of scarcity. This is correct. Everyone faces the problem of scarcity. Again, having money doesn't necessarily entail that you're able to satisfy all the wants that you currently have. There are different types of scarcity. Time is also scarce, and of course, with money, you cannot purchase time, right? So, yeah, both rich people and poor people, and any person, as a matter of fact, faces the problem of scarcity. Now, the last MC, which of the following are examples of non-price competition? Number one, watching the firework display by occupying a good position. Now, this would be correct. This would be competing in terms of the position you are at. So if, let's say, you're in this position, you'll be able to have a very nice view of the fireworks. Whereas if you're in another position, then you wouldn't be able to have as good as a view as if you're in the other position. So this would be a case of non-price competition, because this is competition on the basis of other factors, not the price itself. Okay, 2, offering the highest bid to get the exclusive broadcast rights of the Olympic Games. Now, there is a tricky word here, which is bid. And bid basically means offering the highest price that you'll pay, something like that. So as you can see, it's already on the basis of price. So this would be price competition instead of non-price competition. So 2 would be incorrect. 3, getting married earlier to compete for subsidized housing. And this would also be correct because this situation considers your marital status. This would be the only qualification here. So if you're currently married, at this period of time, then you have a chance of getting subsidized housing. But if you're not married at this time, then you won't be able to get the subsidized housing. So it considers your marital status and not anything else. So price is not our concern here. So therefore, it is non-price competition. So the correct answer for this would be option B, 1 and 3 only. So yeah, these are the 3 MCs that I have for you today. Hopefully this video consolidates your knowledge on some of the basics that you guys have already learned in the beginning of Form 3. And I hope you guys, have a nice econ journey in your senior school life. And if you want to refer to these questions, I'll have a link to a Google Docs in the comment section. For some reason, the description doesn't allow me to paste any links. I don't know why. The notes for this lesson will also be attached in the comment section. So for your own reference, you can refer to these documents. And yeah, next video, we're going to be talking about opportunity cost and the relationship between interest and opportunity costs. So stay tuned for that video, and I hope everyone has a great journey ahead. And this is the end of the video. Thank you.